I'm stunned that was your first question. Well, it's I think an unbelievable trade for our organization, as difficult as it is to give up a player. And even in the brief conversation that I had with Brent and everything that I understand about him, is apparently he's a great guy and a big part of the team. And in order to get anything good, you always have to give up something good. But I do know, for what we need, for where we're at as an organization, and what we just added, this is, we made ourselves better, and definitely, as far as having a plan and an idea of going down a certain road, I think we just set ourselves well down that path.
Setaguchi's a goal scorer. This kid Coyle looks like a real prospect too.
Yeah, well, I think that one area probably that we had to address was we have to get better offensively. And it's not just the matter of scoring goals; it's having the skill and the ability to hang on to the puck and to play with the puck and to get to the offensive zone. And these guys bring those qualities. And not just those guys, but a number of the other guys. We're starting to see. If you look down the road a little bit, there's a number of guys that with a real offensive upside. And I got a couple texts from people yesterday, just other people, other organizations saying, man, a couple years down the road, you guys are going to be pretty loaded up front. And obviously that's still a ways away, and it's only still a projection for a lot of these guys. But the ability is there, the talent is there, and you need that. And with Devin, we're getting a goal scorer. We're getting a guy who loves to shoot the puck, and when he shoots it really hard and really accurately. I think that I've always been a guy that I want to see a lot of shots taken. I believe in shooting the puck on the net as many times as you can. And it's something that it's not always an easy thing to build that kind of mentality with your team. But when you get a guy like that comes in, certainly other people see him doing it, and it helps sort of to foster that mentality.
Mike, how much potential do you see in a guy like Mario Lucia?
You know what? I haven't seen him play, but again, from what I heard, from our scouts, not just one or two guys, but the entire group, is that everybody is real excited about the fact that we could find a way to get him into our organization. And I know that he comes from a good hockey family, and I think that is something that's sometimes overlooked. To be around the game, to understand what it takes, and to just to have the right mental makeup because of what you've learned through the course of your life. I think that that's sort of another intangible that comes into play in this. But that aside, what he can bring to the table, I'm very excited, because I think it's going to mix well with the type of game that we want to play here.
Can you weigh in on these picks just with your philosophy? You probably don't know a lot of them, but the philosophy, do they make picks based on how you play?
You always have to take the best player available. I'm sure that that's what they're doing. I think that as an organization, I think we all have similar interests in what we're looking for. You're looking for character, obviously you're looking for skill, but you're looking for guys, it's a projection, and skill is one part of it, but it's really hard to make it. And so you have to make sure that the guys have the right attitude, the right character, to make sure that they're going to do the right things to get there.
What's your overall take on the last 24 hours as far as how the Wild has changed and what do you think is going to happen this coming season?
I'm so encouraged. I mean, certainly losing Brent Burns is a huge piece, of our defense group, and we're going to have to make sure that we have guys ready to come in camp. We have some young guys that are going to have to come in and step up. But again, part of that trade being possible is because we do have guys who have shown that they're. If they're not ready, they're very, very close to being ready, and I'm expecting them to come in and prove that they are ready in training camp. And by upgrading the talent up front now with a guy like Devin coming in, my expectations after the trade haven't changed, or one way or the other. Again, coming into the season, all I'm expecting is to start building right from the start, and start building our foundation and our expectations, and coming in and doing things the right way. So, it's not going to change with Brent or without Brent, or with Devin or without Devin. The fact of the matter is, we come to training camp, and I'm excited about the group that we have, and we're ready to get going. And I think that there was a big statement made yesterday.
How do you, I'm sure naturally as a coach you actually start pegging guys into certain spots. Do you look at Setaguchi and Bouchard as being possible guys on that first line?
Well, I know that there's not a lot of guys that can distribute the puck as well as Bouchard can, and for whenever you have a guy who can shoot the puck like Setaguchi can, you need guys to get him the puck in those situations, to get him those pucks in the areas where he can get those shots off. So certainly that is something that's already come across my mind, and that's going to be fun, planning that kind of stuff. You know, like it's. You know, obviously we got a lot of time to make those decisions, and you know, sometimes the way you think it's going to work out doesn't always work out that way. You know, chemistry comes into play and whatnot. But you know, when you sit back and you trying to analyze, you know, this is what this guy brings and this is what this guy brings to the table, it initially appears like it would be a good mix.
Do you look at Scandella as being a guy that can lug up? You know, the one thing you lose with losing Burns is a guy to get the puck out of the zone, whether it's pass or skate.
Yeah.
Do you think Scandella has that type of, you know, not Burns upside, but I mean upside to get the puck up ice that can help you in a transition game?
You know what? I mean, you probably heard me talk a lot about the defensive part of our game and getting to the offensive zone, and you know, for one, the way you execute coming out of your zone is critical to making sure that you're not spending time in your own zone. Eventually, if you spend too much time there, you're not going to be very good defensively at one point. And it's critical to getting to your game. I mean, a big part of our game is going to be based on how we retrieve pucks as a defensive group and how we execute, you know, from our defensive zone through the neutral zone. And you know, again, we lost something there. We lost a really big part of that game with Brent. But you know, the way that our D-men executed in Houston, I'm confident those guys can come out and do it. And whether that's a Marco, whether it's Justin Falk, whether it's Nate Prosser, I mean, we have a lot of guys who are going to come into camp this year and prove that they can play that game and they can help us.
How pumped are you right now about going into the season? What's going on in the last week? And
yeah, well, I mean, right now it's still overwhelming. Not overwhelming. It's not that. It's been a whirlwind, and so you know, fly into town here and then get ready for the draft. And it's hard to really make any plans right now because we need, you know, I need Chuck and I need our staff. But the initial planning part here and just the ideas that start popping into your head, it gets real exciting. And you know, this week is going to be a great week to be around and start to figure out a lot of things that we need to get going here quickly.
Did you meet with Darby yet? And can you talk about that?
Yeah, I met with Darby, and you know, it was a great conversation. I have a ton of respect for Darby as a person, and for you know, I know that players think very highly of Darby, and this is a guy that I believe that the organization, and I include myself in that right now, has a lot of faith in. And you know, we have to make some decisions, obviously. And I can't sit here and say one way or the other what they're going to be yet. Again, we're still in the very early stages, but it was a great conversation with Darby, and again, I have a lot of respect for him.
Do you have a timetable on when you want to have, or is there really no time constraint?
The only thing that I mean, I would really like to have a staff in place, if possible, by the prospect camp, because I would like to have people around, and we can, again, we have a lot of things to get going. Normally we'd have a coaches meeting a little bit later in the summer, but there's a lot of things that we have to get going right now, and that would be a good time to have everybody together. But at the same time, I'm not going to rush into a decision. If it's not the right fit, then we'll wait. But you know, that would be my goal.
Thanks, Mike.